I'll have time to help out with any grant writing we want to do.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really probably what should be our focus for the next 15 days. And I think that's when the window opens, if I read things right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess just looking at the minutes there, the subcommittee to handle grants. But I thought we had talked about, we had 3 topics that were likely to be possible grant application focuses, right? And I thought you were going to have people work in pairs to work on developing each of those 3 topics per the questions for the application that I'd sent around. That's how I thought we left it, that we were going to have the subgroups were going to be working on it, so that when we got together next, we would take a look at the arguments and the rationale and pick out the best one of the 3 topics that we thought might be worthwhile. So if that hasn't been done, we definitely need to do that by the 15th so that the grant committee can help you guys.
No, I think we should get that done today. I mean, that setting up the subcommittee and having the people assigned, we definitely should take care of that today.
Okay. I think everybody got the set of questions that I sent around. They should have.
Yeah, I saw this.
Yep. Okay.
I'm just going to add to the minutes that.
Yep.
So we get myself, Dan. Hey, Art, I didn't see you sneak in there.
Hello.
Hey, Art.
Hey, Art. Howdy.
Art, did you do some kind of rain dance?
Yeah, sure.
Because it worked.
Thought we needed some.
All right, so I guess I'll go ahead and get everything started here tonight. I think we have enough people. I'm sorry I sent the minutes out late this week. The last week has been absolutely bananas for me. But I did send them out like literally 30 seconds before the meeting started. And I got them up here. I added the subcommittee assignment that Chris pointed out that we will handle today. Does anyone see any just additions or changes? Mainly things I missed or things that are incorrect here in the minutes from last meeting. Went through the
no, that looks accurate, at least from that first portion. I know, Ed, I think you have some updates related to the phone system and some stuff that was discovered. So
yeah, we'll get to that once we're through any updates we have. We'll start collecting those when we start with the other stuff.
Perfect.
I have not heard from Ken, but I guess she was kind of on the agenda tonight to speak with us about Whip City, which is kind of one of the last things in other business. But I do know that we have conflicting meeting weeks, and it just so happened that I could not set up a meeting last week, and now we should be on opposite weeks. Am I right now? Okay, so just fate twisted us to be on opposite weeks now, so hopefully she can join us. But Dan also mentioned, and we'll talk about that when we get rolling here too, about choosing a different night for this meeting, so we can talk about that. So does anyone have any changes? If not, we'll ask for a motion to approve these minutes, and I can hopefully get them posted.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as shown.
Okay.
Seconded. Anyone not in favor of approving the minutes? All right, we'll take that minutes as approved. For 8/11. No. Yes. Okay, so let me put these away. Let's see if I can find. Let's move here. I had minutes somewhere, or excuse me, agenda somewhere. Oh, here it is. Stuck in the wrong folder. All right, so I didn't have much for the agenda other than getting a brief recap of our committee and subcommittee reports. The main thing I wanted to focus on tonight was the grants, to make sure that we got all of our ducks in a row and all the right people onboarding to these subcommittees so that we can get our maximum dollar value. So let's start with the CARES laptops updates. I know there's some emails swimming around out there. Got some sort of disappointing news. Ed and David, do you want to take over and get us up to speed?
Sure. Actually, Dave and I joined a go-to meeting with the team from Wally probably about 2 weeks ago. And they actually came up with 2 dates, that's what I requested, because I was thinking that they should be able to do 3 or 4 laptops in a 8-hour period. And they came up with 2 dates for us, which happened to be yesterday and the previous Tuesday. Well, on the previous Tuesday, the technician showed up about noon and didn't come here. He had gone right over to the police department because all the equipment was over there in the chief's office from a previous attempt by another technician when the Microsoft 365 client hadn't been set up. So he just went over there to the chief's office. So I was wondering where he was all day, and probably about, 2:30 in the afternoon, I happened to start. I reached out to David first to see if I had my dates wrong. And then once David confirmed it, I reached out to Wally, and I ended up getting a email back from Wally that, oh, the tech was here, he's over the police station. So he spent about 4.5 to 5 hours over there doing the installation of the chief's laptop. Everything was working fine. When he left, Ian took the laptop home, remoted in with it. When he brought it back the next day, the profile for Direct Connect had disappeared, and it went downhill from there. He was having monitor problems and some other issues. So I wasn't too thrilled then. So I had called up and emailed and basically given my displeasure, and was trying to get them back as soon as possible to finish with and straighten out the issues with the chief's laptop, because I really can't have a public safety official that doesn't have access to their files or email. So they came back and said, oh, okay, well, you know what? The technician was very apologetic, said, I can be there Monday morning, I can be at your doorstep, blah, blah, blah. So I said, okay, so we're gonna change, number one, we were changing the Tuesday to Monday, which meant I had to scramble for the other people that were gonna get deployed. I had told we were gonna get deployed on Tuesday. And once again, the technician showed up close to noontime, and it took him most of the day to fix Chief's issues with the laptop. So basically 2 days down and 1 laptop installed. So no, I'm not too thrilled right now.
Yeah, that's frustrating, especially when we were trying to knock out the rest of them. So have you had contact with them since?
Yes. And I'm waiting for 2 more dates.
Okay. I would think that we should probably push to see if they can, figure out a way to get 2 techs out to try to hit some of these other locations so we can do them at least in parallel. But I know that they said that they were stretched thin or booked out or whatever it is, but
Yeah, it's a busy time of year with schools reopening, so.
yeah, that's right. I forgot they said that.
Yeah.
And between us, I don't necessarily think this is their best tech, and the other flip side of that is he's coming from Eastern Mass, so if he doesn't get an early start, we're losing some time in the morning rather than getting started at 9 too.
So you guys don't have access to that Rolf guy anymore?
He's out doing the other installs, so.
Hmm. I mean, I guess I'm disappointed is this is the level of customer service for somebody that's bought
Mhm.
$36,000 worth of equipment. This doesn't bode well, frankly.
No.
Not to mention that people are frustrated.
Yeah, absolutely. If it wasn't the fact that we are now tied to them setting up the Microsoft 365 client for us, I'd just say to hell with it and have someone else install them. But because we're now tied to them for the Microsoft 365 setup, can't do that.
And you paid for the install of these devices up front. Not that they haven't burned a lot of hours, but you're already invested in what should have produced deployed laptops. So, and you're not, just to confirm, we're not paying for additional hours, correct?
Oh yeah, we've burned through what we had set pre-up in the beginning. So now whatever they're doing for hours is additional cost.
I'd push back on that.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right, because I believe they should deploy, and then what comes up in the punch list after all the deployments would be billable, right? That's how I would work it, but I don't know.
No, there was basically so many hours in the original contract, and we've been through that. So.
So they underestimated how much time it was going to take for them to deploy their own machines.
Well, no, they told me that was a basic installation, and that's what I agreed to. So these are not basic installations, obviously.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Still,
we're
though.
getting what we paid for. Is that what you're saying, Ed?
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, I am frustrated. I don't necessarily maybe think that we're getting the best qualified technician, so it might be taking longer.
I agree with that. I was talking to my neighbor. They own a business in Westfield, and they'd done business with Wally for a number of years. And over the past year, they've switched, I guess, support from them, because it's just hasn't been. They just haven't been achieving the goals that they need. So I see a consistent pattern here from different people from town of Southampton, as well as businesses that are supporting Westfield. So we may want to keep that in mind for future work for them.
Yeah. I mean, from looking at what was originally on the invoice, they did put a flat fee per device on there. Unless I haven't seen something that called out the number of hours, it was like either $75 or $150 to deploy each of them. I would almost push back and say, if it takes your guy 10 times as long to do one laptop, that's a you problem.
That's right.
I had the conversations with him, so I know it was discussed. So I'm going to say you're totally wrong.
Okay.
Well, that was my next question. Is there anything that we can do to grease that wheel? Or no? This is basically shut down.
If we want to stay with Microsoft 365, I say we're stuck with it. The only other alternative I see is to say, to heck with it. purchase Microsoft Office licenses the old-fashioned way and have someone else install the rest of them.
What's our sunk cost there? What do we lose? Do we know?
I don't know that. off the top.
Because I guess it's
Probably.
in comparison to how much it's going to cost us in further support hours, right?
Right.
Everyone keep throwing bad money at or more money at this without getting any results.
Let's say 22 times 10, 2, 2.
Like I said, I got next week off. I'll come and help you guys out.
There you go.
This
I'll
is
take you up on it, Dan.
no, I'll do it because I'm a little, and then I will be very mad at this company.
Yeah, I think if we can get them to do the distribution of licenses based on the users and the email that's associated with those users, plugging in a computer is one thing. But you know, if we don't have access to that tenant and can't administer those and distribute those licenses, we're stuck with them. But
Right.
I'd agree, if they're burning multiple days on a single laptop, unless I'm not understanding it, we're hemorrhaging money at this point.
Exactly. And by my calculations, probably the approximate cost of those Microsoft licenses in the remaining laptops is probably around $2,100 for the 365.
And that's what, 6 or 7 more laptops to deploy?
That would be 7. No, 8. 8. That's what I calculated on 8. Or like I say, the other alternative, like David said, was, okay, can they administer that client to the remaining laptops? And then we go from there and have somebody else actually plug them in.
So it's 8 laptops to have the vendor come in and do them, and he's basically doing 1 laptop every 8 hours.
Well, at least it was with the Chiefs. And we've been up and down with this, with, you know, having one installed in about 3 hours to, you know, a couple of extensive runs at the highway department and the police chief that have taken just about a day.
So can they give us the laptops with the Microsoft stuff installed, and then we'll take care of the rest of the installation? Me and Art, we're going to take care of this.
Scratch Art, no way. No way. There's a lot more than what you think, Dan. Don't sign up for stuff you don't know about. Trust me.
You speak the truth.
Yeah, and I'm always weary, and I said this in the past, I'm leery about having people on this committee doing work. So, I mean,
Yeah,
comes
I
down to it, we
wouldn't-
have to do it, then yeah, we'll get one of our people in there, but I'd rather not.
I would not go that route, or not recommend going that route.
I have no problem you showing up, Dan, to supervise these knuckleheads when they show up.
Right.
You know, that'd probably get them like working harder if they got someone literally standing behind them.
Yeah, I'll bulldog them.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as, yeah, I'd rather just keep, that's about as far as we want to get, you know, close as we want to get to it as far as our roles, I believe.
I understand. Yeah, that's a good perspective.
Do we know how much they're charging us, Ed, per hour for the installation now?
I'd have to go back and take a look at an invoice.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It's
so
not
we're
cheap.
figuring, yeah, it's 8, we're figuring 8 more laptops. And if we even take an average between 3 and 8 hours, we could say it's going to be 5 hours each for each laptop times whatever the rate is.
40
times 5.
hours.
It's going to be quite a tag.
They gotta be at least $50 to $100 an hour, I guess.
Auto
I-
mechanics are
yeah.
that rate.
I think they're somewhere around like 125 or so. Hang on, let me go take a look.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's troubling because I would think that they would have committed to, getting the base level functionality up and running for each one of those machines.
Yeah, really.
We gotta, I think this is a good conversation. We gotta come out of this with a plan to get through this, because it's been so long. It's
Yeah,
been
this
dragging out
is-
for so long.
Right.
I mean, 40, if we say 40 hours, take 40 hours, as it'd be cheaper for us just to abandon Microsoft 365. In the,
I wonder if there's any way we could request, priority access to Rolf if he was the great technician that started this.
I think that's a fair request. Just say he kind of understood the system and what we needed.
Mhm.
He seemed to move at a much quicker pace. And if we're being told we're paying by the hour,
For somebody coming from Eastern Massachusetts,
right.
you
And again, it's the portion that's the toughest that we literally don't have access to. It's the distribution of those licenses. So they can do all that up front and, to your recommendation, just kind of, have them just place the laptop, get it running. It's really easy from there. You go and you log into, Microsoft, you pull down you do your install of your Office suite. It's pretty basic. I think the other part that's slowing them down is things like remote access, any specialty software and stuff like that. And granted, I'm sure the police chief is not the easiest one to do. It's probably one of the more sensitive and more complex. So it's not.
Yeah.
It's easy. So.
Yeah, I think my heartburn is not really the hours. It's the fact that they want to bill us for these damn hours. That's
Yeah.
the part that I'm choking on.
Agreed.
I just don't know if we have any leverage over them to perform better at this point. What's their vested interest in getting this job done quicker?
Right. I mean, yeah. If it's quoted as fixed fee, you'd think that they, quicker they can get it done, the better for them.
Oh yeah. You put their best people on that kind of stuff. You put your best people on, right? Because you want to get it done in 20 minutes. You're not trying to draw it out.
Yeah, it's not cost plus.
That's right.
Time and materials, get the B squad.
That's exactly it. It's your apprentices and one journeyman or whatever. And I used to be an electrician. We know how to work it. All right, Ed's back.
I am. Ranges from a low of $75 from the technicians that are deployed from Southwick, which actually I have a better feeling about, to a high of $152 for the individual that comes from Eastern Mass and did the chief's laptop.
Pay more.
So yeah, paid exactly. So we had a good suggestion while you're away. Can we request the superstar technician that we know and love to come work on our gear? What's his name? Ralph or Ralph?
Ralph? Yeah, I can do that. I can do that as tied to, the 2 dates and say, okay, would the 2 dates you're looking to find for us, we would like to have Rolf come back and do it.
Yeah, he's another point that was made was that he seems to have familiarity with our setup, and it might just make it easier. It's a selling point for them to give him us. Like I said, it's in their interest to to get this done as quickly as possible if it's a fixed rate scenario. They should not object to that. I mean, we're just helping them make a good business decision. So, all right.
Yeah,
So,
and let them know they're burning a bridge. If they don't put this fire out fast, it's gonna be it.
I think they already have an idea of that.
Have we pushed it up the ladder at all? I mean, you know, have you taken it to Wally and said, let's go? This is a town here. This is not jump change. I think it's time to start pushing it up the ladder.
I can do that too.
I mean, this is a joke. I mean, it's just
Yeah. It affects the running of the town. I mean, really. It's not somebody's home computer system.
No, that's for sure.
and we got these laptops, just to remind me, back in the spring, right? Or was it even
Actually, they, yeah, well, I'd say winter. They
January.
actually were here beginning of January.
okay, so we have them even before spring. I mean, it's going into the fall now. I'd be a little embarrassed. I mean, I know we didn't approach them until some point later, but if I was them, I'd be a little embarrassed that we have 8 laptops that aren't functioning yet. But again, that's my worthless opinion about it. Okay, so we're gonna try to elevate up the chain our need for some satisfaction in this, and we're also going to ask for our technician. And I think the only thing I could say add to that is that you need 8 laptops done by drop dead date, Ed. It's November 1st, or excuse me, September 1st. And I don't know how they react to it, but if it was me, I'd say I need these 8 laptops deployed by this date and see what they say.
Yeah.
Give them a month.
Yeah, something, just try to put some kind of fence around it so we have some sort of light at the end of the tunnel with this that we can kind of hold them to. What else can we do? Anything else?
Not that isn't super drastic.
If we know what days they're going to be there, we can make sure someone's watching them.
Okay, so Ed's got basically all the stuff here. So we're going to ask him to reach out to the vendor, go up the chain and talk to some higher up folks there, ask them for the help that we need as far as the technician that we need. We'd like to get them to give us a date where all of the laptops will be deployed. And when we do have the dates for the work, we'd like to have, in the next 2 weeks, hopefully, we'd like to have Dan come and monitor the work.
I'll be their
that's done.
motivational speaker.
Yeah, Tony Robbins. You'll be Tony Robbins, and you'll make sure they get all the work done quickly. But if it's this, we get the superstar guy, we probably won't have much to worry about, right? I mean, it's what I'm understanding.
Well, and if they would do like what Ed had suggested or what they started doing, where they had 2 techs, right? So they could divvy up the work, and
Actually, with the first ones, they had 3 techs.
yeah. So I mean, all of a sudden we're at the bottom of the totem pole here, so.
Yeah, so there's a reminder that needs to be made that we should be at the top somehow. I don't know how you do that. I mean, we're not mobsters, but we have to let them know, get our message across somehow.
I think we make it a stipulation that because they're now trying to charge T&M for deployments that should have been covered by the, to our original expectation by that first quote, I would say we're not accepting people coming from Eastern Massachusetts at twice the price because of their issues with availability. I would rather, wait a week and pay half the price than have some guy drive out and show up in the middle of the day.
Yeah, they're fleecing us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we got a pretty good, well, as
The
good as
horse-
it can be.
the
Yeah,
horse-
good. Some sort of game plan to approach how we can get the remaining 8 deployed within our Ed's time frame, right? Ed is going to be the person that's going to pick this date, hopefully, and he can clearly specify what date he wants the work done by. And then I'd like to hear back what they say to that date. Personally, I'd like to hear if they can say, "Oh yeah, we'll get that done," or like, "Whoa, that's pie in the sky," or somewhere in the middle. I don't know. Hopefully, they'll say they'll get it done. Oh, anything else on this topic?
Might be good. I don't know. One of their reps, whoever their sales rep is, invite them to the meeting if they don't have it done. If that will help. Or we go to their, we go to their office, talk to him,
Yeah, I mean that's
go to his house.
yeah. Outside of the muscle heads.
Show up with protest signs.
Yeah, I mean, but it's legitimate. Thing to say is, hey, you guys can explain to the select board why these things aren't done. It's clearly on you, and that's a good
Yeah.
point. Dan is.
I mean,
Yeah, let's pull that card, make them talk to the select board.
I mean, personally, having been on the on their side of the fence, my God, we would jump through hoops to keep our reputation intact and to try to get more business.
Yeah.
I used to go halfway around the world at times when we had to, and I mean, this is just absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe an outfit like this would do it. And
Yeah.
they do a lot of work for the state, I imagine, and they do a lot of work for individual towns and cities. Get the word out there, man, they might find a real drop in a lot of activity if they're
Yeah.
not careful.
Just, I guess, last thought, is there anything that we can do that's not going to be overstepping, potentially causing any issue that somebody could point a finger at that would help expedite things? Whether it's setting up the new monitors and the docks or something like that, or prepping the workstation so when they come in, it's distribution of license, software, plug it in, go, next.
And that's easy to do, David. I mean, I can certainly do that in an hour or so, a couple hours. But there's it may help, but you got to find room to do it on somebody's desk.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the pain in the neck type stuff.
Yeah.
But we certainly can get them out of the boxes and get stuff plugged in and have it ready to go. That's an easy part.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, if you did intervene like that, I mean, I don't know, but I would think that then that would just give them an excuse to say, oh, well, this doesn't work, but it's not our problem because, somebody else messed with the box before we got here too. So, I mean, I think it would be nice, but it could come back to bite you too, I think.
And that's why I'm
Probably the one thing that I can see that definitely could be done beforehand is looking at these workstations and actually cleaning out the workstation itself, or taking a look at the cabling to see how strange it is, or where it's running, so that when they come in, yeah, they got the places to work. It's bing bang boom. It's not like, oh geez, well that's got to be moved so I can get over there, or what have you.
Right. That sounds like a fair thing that we could probably take a look at. Like, so what I heard in that statement was we could show up and basically get the workstation prepared, the area prepared.
Well, and I personally, I think that each individual that's got those workstations should be able to do that too, and just say, okay, this has all got to be cleaned up from here to here.
Good luck with that. Tell me who's technically capable of doing that there, and I'll be surprised who that is. So I mean, we're playing a fool's game here. We paid the money, you get them in, they do the damn work. This Ralph guy came in my office. He was done in 15, 20 minutes. I mean, it was a piece of cake.
Yeah.
The only thing I did was, I pulled out the cables and made room for them and so on and so forth. But this guy was extremely competent and did all the copying over of the files and bing, bang, boom, he was out of there. So we've had no problems since.
Yeah, I think we just got to get him back.
Yeah, I mean, that's that's our
No,
happy path. and I
Nobody
think-
else is acceptable, period.
He was superb, yeah.
All right. I think it was it's a super good idea to try to streamline everything before these guys get here. So whatever we can do just to let people know it's coming, I guess is probably the best we can do in that space. But as far as the users go, prepare a spot in your desk for this and that, clean out this and that. And that's about as much as we could take it, I'm guessing, as far as what we could do ahead of time. All right, so anything else on this? Good discussion. We learned a lot. I did. All right, since Kim and Megan aren't here, we can kind of skip the phone discussion unless anyone here has anything to add new about phones.
What are we skipping? Why are we skipping?
Well, I don't have anything. You guys have anything to add about the phones?
Thought we were almost ready to go here.
So there was a couple items that I think were takeaways on the minutes from the last time we were discussing this. And Ed, I think you spoke to the gentleman who had installed or monitors, maintains, patches the firewall, and it sounds like QoS is a possibility on that. That can be configured, and seems pretty straightforward, which is really good. That kind of will help me sleep at night, at least before the the phone deployment, if we go that far. So I'm trying to remember what the other item was. There was two things that we were checking in on.
Let me go back and look.
Yeah, let me pull up your minutes. I had it open here.
And he was gonna, once he sets that up, he's gonna monitor the usage and give us an idea of that.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. That was the other thing, was the utilization from Spectrum, and they said that they don't or can't provide bandwidth utilization for coax circuits. That's not something that they normally do. So that's where, Ed, I think you said you reached out to the same gentleman to see if he could start capturing that.
Yes.
And that was, did you get confirmation back that that was in place?
It is not yet. He's actually got to come in and set some things up on the firewall here.
Okay. And then there's one that I think is for me, which was the making sure the price comes down, that $62.38 after the phones are paid off. And I apologize, I think I had that queued up, but I don't think I have an answer on that. So I will get an answer on that, and I can distribute that back to the group. And then the last item was the highway department, whether they truly needed a cordless phone or a desk phone that they could use a Bluetooth or wireless headset on. I don't know, Ed, if you had a chance to ask about that.
I have had plenty of chances, but it has slipped my mind, so I apologize.
Yeah.
I talked to Randall about that, and he was confused. He didn't think he needed that at all. So
Okay.
I wouldn't hang anything up or stop anything for him. He said it was fine having the phones in the office.
I think for consistency's sake, because I don't think there was a big difference in cost when it came down to it. I think for consistency's sake, if we could just stick with the same phone so everybody's using it, then you have the same user instructions. You're not worried about, hey, if the handset doesn't get charged now, I can't answer any calls on that phone. And then you put any extra, the difference in just a wireless headset. That would be my recommendation. But not my phone, I won't be using it.
So I guess I would say we make a motion to recommend to the town that they deploy onto the firewall, the quality of service tool, and also network utilization monitoring. Right? Is it the firewall or the router? I wasn't sure.
It was the firewall. It's
Oh,
a
firewall. Okay.
whatever it is, the sonic wall.
Yeah, John keeps correcting me on that too. Every time I call it a firewall, he goes, it's sonic wall.
So repeat that, Dan. We're recommending to the select board to install a QoS and sorry, my dog's barking.
Yeah, the QoS and a network. Yeah, we'll say
Bandwidth
bandwidth utilization monitoring.
Yeah.
Such that we can get stop at the bandwidth utilization monitoring.
Do we actually need this? Ed's already started, so.
No, just saying.
Let's make a motion that we move forward and get this damn thing in.
Yeah.
The hell with any of this individual stuff. Let's get the plan in. We've David's worked real hard with putting the numbers together. It looks good.
Let's make that motion.
Time to roll.
All right. So does someone want to make the motion to recommend that we take the information that we have from the phone systems and recommend that the town move forward with it? Am I saying that right?
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
All right. Seconded. Is anyone against? Looks like we have just a small group here. Anyone against not taking this forward to the select board? Okay, hearing none, we got a unanimous. Let's bring this down.
So would our next step be to present this to the select board?
Could be.
So to show how your cost savings and and performance improvements.
Well, let me, if I can intervene for just a sec. I don't know, I guess maybe Mike got an email about it, but select board has set up a system of basically twice a year reports from the various department heads and committee chairs, etc. And we're going to do that at each of our meetings. We're going to allow 15 minutes or so per committee, commission, whatever, at our various meetings. And on the, I believe it's the 28th of September meeting, the Ad Hoc Tech Committee is scheduled to give us a progress update. So the timing will be good unless you want to do it earlier, but we're only meeting the 14th and the 28th. So the 28th, we've kind of got you on the schedule anyway.
Yeah, I think with that much lead time, I'm sure we can pull together a quick slide deck that's just going to say, here's your cost now, here's where the cost would be, here are the main benefits to moving to a voice over IP system. It frees up money. And then I think really the remaining point that I think we should be on the same page about is, are we recommending the increase in bandwidth that would still keep us, I believe, underneath what we're paying just for phones right now?
Yeah,
that was my understanding.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
As part of this process.
Yep.
So David, that's a great suggestion. Can you I don't think we don't need a slide deck. If you just give me a bulleted or a table, any way you want to summarize executive summary of what you just said.
You got it. Yeah.
And the simpler, the better. The simpler, the better.
Okay.
I can't reinforce that enough. And then we will put that in as our report to the select board at the end of the month. That way we'll deliver that recommendation in the actual write-up that we hand out. That way you have a nice blurb in there with all your data right in that report.
Even better. Yeah, I think you're right. I think the the more concise we can make something like that. I mean, I think it kind of speaks for itself. It's a cost savings. It's the next generation of telephony. It is, the the direction where everything else is going. And if it'll also afford us at the same time the ability to increase bandwidth, all the better.
Yeah, it's a win-win, and you summarized it perfectly right there.
It would be so nice to be able to tell us too that all these laptops are actually deployed.
I was just going to rewind and say that we
Yeah,
had,
so-
can
so the-
we set our date, establish a date with Wally such that it is before that meeting?
And even use that as a,
Yeah,
as
The
a
leverage.
There's our fire.
we need to report. Yeah,
Here's
we
the-
need to report on where this money went.
yeah.
And if we go there to say, hey, we recommended that you guys refresh a whole bunch of desktops and they're still not in months later, you know.
You're more than welcome. We tell them they're more than welcome to explain to the entire town what they've done with our money.
Oh, pitchforks and torches and all sorts of stuff. You don't want that.
Yeah.
So that's a great idea. So Ed, you think I can add that to your, want to add that to your quiver? Throw that arrow in there?
No, you're giving me contradictory information. You said I could pick a date. Now you're giving me a date, which isn't.
You,
Oh, it's
you
a
can-
date within a
you can-
window.
That's right. You can pick a day within the goalpost that we set. The jerk, when he's trying to award the prizes, you can get anything from this little corner.
The first one was in a month. Well, that would be October 1st.
Well, okay, let's back this up. You can pick a date as long as it's earlier than the one that we picked. Win-win.
There we go.
I think that's a good move though, because that gives us leverage. It gives them some sort of like urgency about why we need it done. It's something that can easily communicate and I can understand why we need it done. So that's a really good, who brought that up? David, who was that? It's a great idea.
Most of the good ideas come from Chris. I have to.
So Chris, whoever it was, great idea, whoever it was, let's utilize that and hopefully we can get some traction and then we can have some really good news to report to the select board at the end of the month.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, this is like a ghost, that just keeps haunting us.
Mm.
All right. What else do we got to do with that? I'm just gonna write down that David's gonna summarize executive summary. Phone system installs. All right, and that'll be added to our end of the month report.
And if it's possible, if we have any bandwidth utilization data by then, that helps. If they're concerned about any risk, it would be mitigated through that. They might not. That might be above their heads, but I don't know.
Are there's voicemail in this system, right? That's a basic, yeah. So like David, I would say like do the cost summary and then just do like a quick bullet of like, here are all the features you're going to gain.
Yeah.
Something like that, that says we're going to save everybody money. We're going to gain value, and here are all the new things that you're going to get as gaining this value. I think that'd be nice. People can see that. Okay. Anything else on the phones? And Art, I didn't mean to like skip the phones. I just was in my pea brain. I just couldn't think of anything that we had to talk about and wasn't trying to gloss over it. So I apologize.
Art's good like that. He gets us moving.
Yeah.
Well, this has been one of Art's pet projects for like 2.5 years at least. So I fully understand why he wants to keep grasp on it and keep it moving.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So that's great. And we're gonna actually have, or I thought we were gonna do anything. We're gonna have a nice way forward now. So that's great. Okay. The last thing I think we had some new business. I believe, Chris, did you send an email saying you were going to bring something up on new business? I know we're not there yet. I just wanted to get a time
there was
frame.
just- There was just one thing about a municipal IT collaborative.
Okay, that's what it was. Yep.
Yeah, I can share screen when we get to that point if you want.
Okay, great. All right. I just that'll probably take a few minutes, 10 minutes or so.
Oh, not even. I don't think.
Okay. All right. So I'd like to take the rest of the time that we have, the next 45 minutes or so, to really hammer on the grant situation. We do have some information that was sent out. I'll see if I can bring it up and share it.
And I'm gonna apologize. I gotta check out because I got a bunch of work still to do tonight, so I gotta
Okay.
do some research.
No
Well,
problem.
thank you very much for
Thanks for
everything
showing
you're
up.
doing to communicate with Wally. Thanks.
You're welcome, but David's a part of that too, so.
Yeah.
We were trying to keep them moving forward and honest, but
Mhm.
it's been a little challenge.
Hey, Ed, before you go,
Yeah.
you had your favorite topic maybe for the grant was around the payroll software.
It's not payroll software, it's the entire financial software package.
Okay. Do you want some help with that? Can you do that by yourself?
I can do it by myself. I'll carve out some time the beginning of next week to reach out to SoftWrite and get them working on it.
Okay.
I mean, I'd be interested in the same modules we currently have, and for apples to apples, and then there's some modules like it might be worth our while to actually add an assessor module in there. So, and it may be worthwhile. I'll also get a costing for utility module, so we could actually do our water billing within that system rather than outside that system. So I'll get a couple options also.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, just fine. Thanks. Good luck.
Thank you. You all have a good evening.
Take care.
As well.
Thanks, Ed.
Take care.
All right. So, any idea how much that software is?
I have no clue. That's why I wanted to just pin him down a little bit, because out of the topics that we had talked about, that was the one that he had suggested, and I would agree that it's a need, but it may not be a superseding need to the other ones that you all were talking about. But I just wanted to be sure that he was going to commit to doing something with it. Out of this, what you have on here, it's the second page that's really the most relevant in terms of where the questions are. So yeah.
Oops. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Trying to make it so that everyone can see it at the same time. It's not going to go. Okay. How's that?
Yeah,
Everyone see
that's
it
better.
okay?
Sure. Yeah, and just so the window is from September 15th to October 15th to get the application in. And these were the basic 6 sort of topic areas of the application. So I think what we had tried to talk about last time was maybe taking a stab at whatever the topics are going to be, but working out the narrative under each of these 6 points so that whenever we got together next, we could pick out which one seems to be the most well, I guess the most impactful, the one that's got the strongest rationale, where we think we've got the best chance to maybe get the grant. So.
Okay, I'm gonna pull up my notes from.
Yeah, I just remembered that the financial software that he mentioned and cybersecurity were 2 topics. I'm forgetting the third.
Yeah, I'm looking through my notes now to see if I wrote them down.
And it was based on the various grants that Art had shown us that had been given before, the kinds of grants that had gone out over the last couple of years to see what the trends had been.
Yep.
What was it? Oh yeah. Did it have to do with the stuff that Joel had developed? Maybe.
I wrote down 4 things on that, the website, financial software, wiring for wide area network, and Office 365 are the quick notes that I jotted down about ideas for grant money. That was like a couple meetings ago. This was from July 28th. So
Yeah,
may
no.
have newer ideas that I didn't write down.
Cybersecurity was a big one. I thought you were promoting that one.
Well,
Last
Art, yeah, I
meeting.
am, but Art had a nice list of that he summarized a bunch of ideas.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find that in his email.
While you're doing that, can I ask a question? Can we combine multiple ideas together, like 365 and then the other software? It's got to be one specific thing.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
It's
Thank
one
you.
project. That's been the problem. It's got to be one project. You can't have multiple little projects.
Yeah, One,
Okay.
one project for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
You can't find it, Mike, I can pull it up. I have it here.
Okay, if it's easy for you, I'm just going through
Can share
I did
it.
a search on your name and I thought it would come up pretty quick.
Can you all see that?
Yep.
Yeah, I just got an email from Kim. By the way.
Is she coming?
Dan says he couldn't. I actually got one from Dan too. He can't make it. And then Kim said she can't meet on Wednesdays, mostly due to work.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking we could talk about later, maybe setting
Yeah.
out another doodle poll to see what days work best for everybody, because I think Kim keeps running into conflicts on Wednesdays, and we want, maybe there's another day that works best for everybody. Just we'll poll everybody again and see what comes out as the best day, if that's okay.
Mhm.
I think that'd be fine. All right, so thanks, Art, for showing this out. Yeah, disaster recovery and cybersecurity. That one is like really kind of screaming at me. E-permitting, that's the one that's always there too.
But we already have that.
We already have that, okay.
Yeah, that's,
All right, so
I would-
sorry, Dan, go ahead.
I would think the problems I hear people in town talk about the most are communication from the government, right? Or the municipality, the government, through the email system, through getting updates on the website. So I guess if there was one area I think that would benefit our townspeople the best, it would be in our ability to effectively communicate to them.
so
Good.
you're proposing the website?
The website and it'd be the email, fixing the email, so porting the email to a different server. I'd say getting away from Bluehost.
So when you say communications, like I know we have like some sort of like all call system where we get text messages or phone calls where they're recording. That's not what you're talking about.
No.
Okay. That's code red. That's for emergency stuff and town meeting stuff.
you know, I think people have to rely on right now. People rely a lot on other, like getting information through social media, through other sites that aren't directly from the town, just because the town getting information directly from the town isn't obvious to people. So I think that it could be improved.
Definitely. I mean, I think the website is a whole animal of itself that needs major improvement. I'm wondering though, I don't see anything on this listing that looks like website stuff in terms of the kinds of things that have been granted for the last 3 years. And I'm kind of wondering and thinking that there may be other grants out there that could take care of website development
Good point.
upgrades. Whereas this, I don't think we want to, miss our chance at something that's really a hot button issue, maybe that they tend to like to fund. So I don't know, just think about it that way too.
Good perspective.
Unfortunately, I don't know enough about how, I know we talked about this, we talked about not talking about this on this call. So I'm kind of trying to not talk about this. And I'm speaking in negatives now. So I don't know how terrible things are. And that's really my ignorance of, like, I know things aren't great. And
Yeah, usually when people don't want to talk about things, I know what they're talking about. So I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay, good. So I'd like to like, how do we get the right people to examine all of our shortcomings?
Yeah.
Because I'm not an expert in that field, but I know we have holes.
Yeah. To get it done properly, you usually need to get a consultant to kind of take a look at things. I know one company I wouldn't reach out to for that though.
Since we're speaking in negatives.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly know some companies that offer that type of analysis. It costs money up front. You know what I mean? I don't think the infrastructure is so huge that it would take a long time, or it's not like overly complex. So I think you could do a pretty quick analysis of it, but I think it should be done by someone who does this for a living.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure we could find some kind of best practice type, checklist. But that's all that would be. I don't know that we would come up with much that would be actionable out of that. I think what we really would want is to do a full-blown, cybersecurity.
Oh, you said the word.
Assessment. I think we'd want to do a full-blown assessment that has, recommendations on how to, harden things.
I agree. And that out of that recommendation can come a price tag. And that's really kind of where I was going with it, is because I don't know enough to know I know what I don't know, and I know what I don't know as far as things cost. So having giant negatives about everything that I don't know tells me I need to hire someone to fill in all those gaps. And so the question is, can we get that done before the end of October, where this thing is due?
I know some people that work at some 3 acronym organizations in the government that might be able to help us.
Would they be able to do it like at cost, or at cost we can afford?
No, you can't afford them.
No.
Do you have any volunteer cybersecurity experts?
I mean, I guess the downside of this, I mean, I'm sort of following what you're talking about here, but I guess the downside of this is, even though we've got the topics of what's been funded, we don't know what the details are of the grant that was given, what it was for, what it was really used for. So whether it could have been a design or an analysis kind of thing, or whether it was an actual implementation thing, right? So that's part of our problem here, is we don't get to see some of the proposals behind the scenes here as to what they really asked for.
pretty obvious what they're gonna fund here. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's running around ransomware, and I'm shocked that we haven't been hit.
Yeah.
We're so vulnerable that even a 2-year-old kid could put us into ransomware. So, I agree with David. I mean, I've reached out to the people I know, and no more freebies. I mean, you just can't do this stuff expecting people to go, oh, I'm going to do that for you because I'm not going to get. I've tried that, with NetApp and a couple of these other companies that.
Well,
I know
we're
people
knee
that-
deep into freebies right now, and that's all it does is cause us grief. So
Right.
that's
I
kind of what I
know-
said to Ed earlier. Is like we get what we pay for. I mean, that's where we're at with this.
We do it every time in this town. It's save a penny and lose a dollar. We do it all the time. And I see it almost every day where I go into what I call work, and I see it. So, we either got to start biting the bullet here. And I know what Chris is going to say, oh, there's no money. Well, you got to start finding the money, or, start maybe taking it away from some areas that I think are got more coverage than we do, like the schools, and start putting some money into town hall. I mean, I could go on and on and on about this, but we're going to get our ass burnt one of these days. And everybody's going to go, oh boy, we should have took care of that, should have thought of that. So I totally agree with David. We need to go out and find somebody to analyze this thing, put the whole package together and present it. I've been trying now for a couple of weeks, trying to get an idea of how much a system like this would cost. And again, it's all, people I know and trying to get freebies. And I don't blame them. I mean, if I was on the other side of the fence, I wouldn't do it either. I mean, or we say, screw this and just go with the financial package. That's easy as hell. I mean, you can get that data together in probably, 2 seconds.
I think if we were locked down and we were secure, we had keys on our house and deadbolts, we could probably buy a nice financial piece of software and park it in our living room and no one would steal it. But we don't have keys on our doors. We don't have any sort of locks. I mean, we'd have lots of locks. We just don't really know if they're working very good. And we have to basically put our fence around this, and we have to have a physical perimeter and we have to have electronic perimeter. I mean, the same as your house.
I totally agree. So what do? You go out and you say, you get 3 bids and just get the damn job done and have them do all the 6 questions, answer those questions and be done with it.
Can I ask a question looking at the sheet? There's one of these under 2020, and it's bullet number 4, right? So that means it was awarded. So could we look at those ones as for basis of estimates for what it would, something along those lines would cost? If last year they were able to achieve disaster recovery and cybersecurity, reviewing just those 4 specific applications. I mean,
now you got to sit down and figure out the population. You got to figure out whether it's east of the state or west. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Yeah, you probably could come up with something, but that doesn't write up your grant either.
No, and basically the 6 questions I gave you guys are what the grant information is. So if you all can work to answer those kinds of questions, why you need to go out for bid is to get some ideas of costing
That's
and
right.
timeline, which are 2 of the 6 questions, right?
Yeah, we need that.
But the whole rationale for why this is important to the town and what we are at risk and why we absolutely need to do cybersecurity issues as a focus for a grant. I mean, that's what I'm asking you guys to put together, and the grant committee will help you massage that language and fit it into the application. Where we don't know anything is that background stuff. So you need to go out to get somebody to help you will be for a budget cost and a timeline, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we don't have the expertise here to do this.
Right,
right.
So, I mean,
wish we
yeah.
did, but we don't.
But I mean, but they don't need to put the application together. We'll put the application together.
Yeah, we can do the
No,
application.
That's fine. No, I
Yeah.
agree, but you
Yeah.
know, if it's a good, if it's a good consultant, they can put that together, you know, and then you guys polish it up.
Yeah,
You know.
okay, well, whatever, yeah, if you can
But-
find one, sure.
But I think we, you know, if we're gonna go that route, I wish we had the expertise. I wish I had it, but I don't.
Yeah.
And I've been trying now for 2 weeks to get it from the outside world, and you know, I'm not getting any. And these are friends of mine that I've known for years, and I don't blame them. You
So we
know,
have,
please help me, salesperson, put this whole package together. And oh, and by the way, we may not get the grant. Oh, and by the way, if we do get the grant, it doesn't mean you're going to get the job. I mean, who's going to jump on that one, right?
Yep.
yeah. No, that's the tough thing. I was gonna say, I mean, a couple of our sister companies for the company that I work with, we have one that does nothing but, you know, legal and helps with grants and stuff like that. It's usually, you know, much bigger than I think what we're applying for. We've also got another arm that does that type of consulting, security and everything like that. But they're used to digging into like entire health systems to understand their whole infrastructure. So this would be, you know,
Excuse me, David, a quick question, Chris. I mean, I would think the cost of consulting could be factored into the grant, right?
Sometimes, yeah, I'd have to go back and look at the details on the grant. Sometimes the design costs are eligible and sometimes they're not, so maybe.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, this is all, I mean, all the stuff I see here, there's a heck of a lot of design. So I would imagine that, you know, some of these towns don't have a staff to put stuff like this together. So they haven't hired somebody.
Right,
So the question is that I have now is who can we get to come in and how quick can they do it? And get us the information that we need so we can take the nuggets they gives us and translate that into our grant language.
Yep.
Anybody have any thoughts on how we can get someone?
well,
I just
one,
texted a friend of mine who's going to talk to a couple people.
okay. One of the things that I was gonna just show you guys, because it came across my desk, and I'll just interject it here because it may be relevant, is this idea, and it came out of the PVPC, Pioneer Valley Planning Group. There is apparently a municipal IT collaborative that's been formed over the last couple of years, and they provide some level of technical assistance on things. It costs us $400 to be a member of it, and that's about all I know at this point in time, but certainly could reach out to somebody at PVPC to see if they have anybody within their team that is, what, I guess, able to be somewhat of an advisor or somebody to give us some ideas and recommendations on that. I could at least do that part.
Yeah, there's
I'm not a big fan of PBVC. I've not seen anything come out of them ever since I've been involved with this stuff. So good luck.
Well, they helped us with the master plan, so we wouldn't have got it done without that.
Yeah, there's a couple good people there, but not
But
many.
anyway, this collaborative, I'll show you that later on. That's what Mike was referring to. I mean, just in terms of other governments that are doing the same thing, other towns in the Pioneer Valley that are having some of the same issues. Obviously, there's been a need to create something, and so I just don't know what their level of experience is in terms of what they've been involved in yet. So, but I'll be glad to reach out and just get information from them anyway.
yeah, the more information we have is better, the better. Yeah, so I'd like to see, like get someone in as quick as we can to give us an assessment, and then translate into our document. And I'm kind of feeling sort of inadequate here about how to get us going on that piece.
at least on my side, I can ask the owner of one of our sister companies to just say, hey, is this even feasible? Or how would they recommend that the town goes about that? Because I mean, honestly, I think the point about, you're still going to need 3 bids after you figure out what you're requesting. or what you're trying to get the grant for, I can at least get some feedback. I've worked with this guy for 8 years, so that would be kind of one option or one channel. But then if we can find somebody who would kind of do it as I've done this before, I can at least take a look, and it's not going to be a deep dive. There's not a lot to look at, but just, hey, let's make some quick recommendations, ballpark those prices. I think we can get somewhere. I think the biggest struggle is going to be the timeline, how much time we have.
Yeah, I think we can do some of the language without having a lot of the information. Like there's some, we can answer some of the questions, I think, I don't want to say subjectively, but we can answer some of them. I think prepare it, then we can plink a lot of his, whoever he or she comes in and does the assessment, we should be able to, jigsaw that data into the language, I'm guessing. But I think we have until October 15th to actually submit the package.
Well, that's the very last day, and my recommendation would not be to wait to the last day.
Yeah, I know. I certainly wouldn't recommend that, but I mean, that gives us, a little bit over a month.
Yep.
To get someone in and help us understand the needs. And that's really the main thing, is what are we missing to give us a good, healthy, footprint of security.
So it's basically a risk assessment of our system. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and then that person can say, here's the things we're missing, and here's what I'd recommend to patch all this and why. And then we could go spec all that out, or maybe that person would spec it out for us, how much it's going to cost. But give us that foundation of knowledge that we don't have. Because I definitely know what I don't know, and this is something I don't know. I've only been in the offices like to vote, and I think with David one time we go in a closet down the basement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so as you're talking, so that, and then the other topic that Joel had worked on, is that still a viable idea for a topic for the grant or not?
I think kind of like what you said, Chris, earlier, I think that's kind of small potatoes compared to what we're trying to solve here. So I think maybe it kind of fits into what you just said earlier about the other grants that we may be able to find money to shore up these smaller little projects.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I really like to get the email thing squared away, but Ed sent me an email and said he hasn't talked to Bluehost yet, and then when he do that, he's get in touch with Dan and Dan Breen and get that squared away, because we just may have situation where we're just not paying for something. I mean, come on, we just got to pay for some stuff. And we've talked about this before, I'm not going to harp on it. But if we're getting free email, or basically free email, we're probably going to run into issues. That's just the way I see it.
Well, if we can ever solve anything that's on the old anything but Gmail that doesn't get through, many people would be happy, including myself.
Yeah, the almighty dollar would fix that problem, I'm pretty sure.
Well, and it apparently, though, it looks like we don't. I mean, whereas some of the error messages I've seen, they tell you, go here and fix this, or it's this code or whatever. But sometimes this one doesn't even give you that to tell you what's really wrong, or that you can go and do any fixing of it, So I don't know.
Just again, I hate beating this thing to death, but I'm a grumpy old guy, and stuff like this just drives me crazy. It points out, and all these things point out, that we have no support, no IT support, nobody to call when there's a problem. No issue, gets resolved. It just gets pushed around and pushed around. And for the life of me, I just cannot understand it. We're again, I don't know, 14, 16, $18 million operation. That's a pretty good sized business. I owned a business like that once, and that was pretty good. And we have nobody. And I just can't believe that we don't have a Northeast or, companies like that that we pay them a fee and, you know, we have the support whenever there are issues like that. All these companies do cybersecurity and data recovery, the disaster recovery. And we just sit there like we're just with a big sign over our head saying, please hit us, please hit us, please hit us. But it's just basic stuff. I get it all the time. People come in, hey, my printer's not working. Oh, Christ. I mean, you know, normally I can go fix it because I've got a fair amount of knowledge in this area, but I shouldn't have to do that. And, you know, and one of these days I'm going to die and I won't be there. And, you know, it just, why don't we just do that? We got to start paying the money. I
Yeah.
mean, you go up to the high school, they got a whole damn department, 3 or 4 people do nothing but IT work. And at least give
Well,
us
and then you've got
something.
a couple of departments in town that seem to have their own IT relationship with Northeast IT, such
Well,
as the Board of,
I don't blame them, Chris. I'm
they're
told,
on call. I mean, Northeast is on call as far as I know, when they're called in.
I'm going to start using them myself because I'm sick and tired of running around in the morning trying to get all this stuff working. I ain't going to do it anymore. I'm just going to call Northeast and say, come on in and bill us. And that's not the way it should work. We should have somebody, you know, a contract with an outfit to handle this and give us all the support that we need. We don't need it all the time, but we do need it. And there's just, I don't blame, you know, you're probably talking about Board of Health, and God bless them. I'm glad they did it. They're smarter than the rest of us. I'll rest my case, sorry.
No, those are all valid points, and I'm wondering, you know, I know that we can't lump things in, but is you know, shoring up your disaster recovery and cybersecurity plan with a contract with an IT department, could that be okay? I mean, I don't see why that's something different, right? It's part of the plan. In order to have a good, robust system, you need to have people to run it. So I think that we could probably get away with, you know, in this $200,000 getting money for exactly what Art just said, to support people, to support the network, to support security when we're under attack. You know, someone may need to be there just to disconnect or to do something like pull the plug. You know, I don't know if I'm using the right term, and I'm a nuclear guy, so we scram a reactor. What do you do with the network when you're under such attack? You need to like hide yourself. I don't know. That's why we need to hire someone to. I'm saying a lot of stupid stuff right now because I don't talk about security and cybersecurity like an IT guy would. I'm talking about it from a guy who gets the phishing emails in his inbox that has to, you know, manage that on his own. Like my company doesn't even turn off links. The simplest thing to do is just to inactivate a hyperlink, but they don't. So we have to police all these links and make sure they're a valid link. That's a valid thing I'm worried about for all the users in the town. You can have all the security in the world, but if a user clicks on a link that looked to be good, it's all for nothing.
Yep.
Because one of your users clicked the link, it looked good, and they clicked the link, and
I mean,
it's over.
You're absolutely right, Mike. I mean, we can get a package in there and we can get this and that, but we're going to need the support. Who's going to do, like, you know, you put it in, and who's going to test it? And it's got to be tested periodically. You got to be able to recover data. You got to go through the whole exercise. You know, who's going to do all that stuff? It'll look fancy. We got all this. Hey, we got this NetApp package here. This is great. We're putting everything up in the cloud. But, you know, who tests it to make sure that what's going up in the cloud, we can restore it and it actually works? I mean, who, you know, without some real support, we don't have that. It's like, you know, I hate to use the expression peeing in the wind, you know, except the wind is coming towards us. It's a shame. It really is. And like I say, we should look around, just look at our school system, and believe me, they got protection up the yin yang, because they know what happened over in Chicopee. They know what happened in some of these other communities, and it's going to happen. I can't believe it hasn't happened yet in Southampton. And when it does, it's going to be total chaos, because you're never going to recover any of this stuff And believe me, you'll pay the money because they'll have you locked up. I've seen up close and personal what happens when you get hit with ransomware, and you are dead in the water. So,
yeah, it's a huge thing, and like our company takes it seriously, not to the point where they take links away, but they beat it in our head, inspect a link, don't be clicking on tiny URLs, all this other stuff. But we're not IT professionals. Like a lot of us aren't IT professionals. Some of us are electrical engineers. Some of us are, none of us are like trained in this sort of tactics. And all the little phishing emails and alerts you can send out all you want, it's not going to stop a guy. Here's exactly what happened one day. Our IT company, our IT department tests us, and they send us fake links. And if we click on them, we get put in a bin and then we get canceled or whatever, right? I saw when a link come in, I went on WebEx Teams and I said a message to my entire team, do not click this link. It is a malware link designed to test you. 2 people clicked it after I told them not to. 2 people. And these are PhD educated people. So, like I said, no net you can cast is going to make anything foolproof. We just have to cut out as much risk as we can for the users, and hardware can do it, and spam appliances can do it, and that kind of stuff. But it really comes down to the person knowing, if I click this link, it could all go down, and that's.
And without detection is one thing, but unless you have a plan to react and do something to isolate PCs and everything like that, it doesn't matter.
That's right.
And that's why you're seeing more and more of these tools that are coming out that do both the intrusion detection, they do the scanning of what your servers are doing and everything like that. And you can automate a lot of that stuff now. You can sign up for services that are actually really reasonable, that they basically have their own SOC. They have the Security Operations Center, and if they see something happen, it immediately alerts them. But you can also have it automate to be like, shut off internet network connection on that device, completely isolated, get it the hell off the network. And I think until you're working with an outfit that's big enough to do that for you, we should be looking at some services like that. And it's it's usually device based or user based, and it doesn't matter if you're at home or at town hall, but it's always keeping an eye on what if it starts seeing that it's encrypting a whole bunch of files, it'll lock the computer immediately, so it will stop that stuff automatically. So
sounds like that's exactly what we're looking for, to have in place here, and we just need the right expertise to tell us, in my opinion, how we get there.
Look up Carbon Black and Red Canary. They're 2 platforms. We have deployed Red Canary and Carbon Black at a lot of pretty major institutions. Red Canary is kind of that automation. That's the one I'm talking about, where they, Carbon Black says this is what's going on your PC. Red Canary takes that information and says, okay, we need to do something about that immediately. And that's where all that automation comes into play. And that's where they have that 24/7 knock.
Yeah, that's exactly that's kind of what we need. We need to subscribe to some service like that, because obviously we can't afford to build that infrastructure in our own IT, our own hall. We can just leverage someone else's platform to monitor, hopefully. Okay. Yeah, so like I'm looking at the application instructions. Purpose, that's pretty easy. I'm not easy, but I guess we don't need the purpose, benefits. Yeah, so about half of this we could probably get a good head start on. And the other piece will need some technical expertise to fill in the blanks. I can get started on some of this stuff.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful if you guys could take a stab, I don't know, maybe each person take a question or something and leave the timeline in the budget part, and then that would get progress to the next meeting anyway.
Yeah. So I'm willing to try to answer them all, and if anyone else wants to, they can try to combine or draft them up together. And but I think 2, 3 is going to be tough, and 5, yeah, like you said, Chris, 5 and 6. But we can do 1, 2, and 4 pretty easily right now. So Dan and David, you both said you had your feelers out for some people. Can you just keep the group apprised of any information you find out? We may need to, get on a call informally.
Yeah.
To try to whittle through who we can get and meet informally before the next 2-week meeting.
Yep. Yeah, and I'd be happy to collaborate if you on that kind of that draft on the security piece. Be happy to help out a little bit with that.
All right, that sounds good.
I have like assessments and stuff that we've done that I can take a look at for some ideas. At least like what are the things that you would want to focus on? What are the different components and stuff like that?
All right, cool. Why don't you take the first stab at it, then I'll get it after you. If you have the bandwidth.
That's always the problem.
Yeah. If not, I'll go first, and then you can fill in my missing spots with what you got.
Yeah, how about this? Let's touch base a little bit later in the week. I'm gonna poke around tomorrow with some folks in our organization just to see what type of feedback I get back and see what I can dig up. And maybe I can send you some, just some examples or extracts or something like that. Obviously, we'd need to redact anything sensitive, but I'm sure we have templates and stuff that we can start with.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so we have a interim plan forward to get help. What about if you guys come back and like no one can help? What should we do then? What's our next step if like both Dan and David come back and say, I can't find anyone to come in and give us an assessment that's not going to like break the bank? I would guess something like this would cost $500. I mean, like an hour's worth of a consultant's time to drive out and assess. Would that be, am I out of the ballpark there?
That's what I'm trying to gauge, because I mean, even for, somebody local, I've seen that cost between 5,000 and 10,000. But that's on a much, much more complex level. So, I mean, it's, apples and orchards.
Gotcha. All right. So maybe I'm just a little too, maybe we don't need a contingency plan as far as trying to find, I guess, and we'll find someone that can do this work for us. Since it is a pretty big business right now.
I don't know. I'm a little slow in understanding what we're trying to find in this person. Are we trying to find someone who can help us get a quote for what it would cost to do this, or someone
analyze the whole situation, find out what we need, and then be able to give us an idea of what it would cost and timeline and whatever else other questions we got to answer.
Okay, I guess I'm confused, because wouldn't that be what the grant is for?
So there's 2 pieces.
Okay.
And so like in the grant application instructions, there's like 6 questions, and 3 out of those 6 questions we don't know the answers to. So we're going to have someone come in and say, and look at the town hall, assess it from a risk of disaster recovery and cybersecurity, since that's kind of the bucket we're fitting in. And then that person can say to us, hey, and kind of just give us a report. The way I envision, this is the way I envision it. And you can, if I'm going on the weeds here, let me know. But this person would give us a report. Here's all your vulnerabilities, and here's how you can shore them up. And then we would take that as the product that person gave us, and then we'd take that information and either go forward with that person to get more information about the dollars associated with each one of those lines, or we do that on our own and fill out this application. Does that help you at all? Because I just don't know myself. I don't know anything about, like, I couldn't walk into the building. I could do a physical, assessment, but I wouldn't know if that's switch and everything we have in that closet down there is what we need. I would have no clue.
The thing that we would need to prepare for is, I think we're only going to be able to get so much with somebody just looking and understanding what's there. I think for somebody to give us a true, here's what you need to do, they're going to need things like access to understand, hey, is everything, up to date? What's the configuration on this stuff and this, that, and the other thing. So if we have the ability to give somebody like that access, that's one thing, but that also complicates things too. You know what I mean? Like,
because you're talking about like what version computers are running, like operating systems and stuff, because that could be a vulnerability.
how's your network configured? That type of stuff.
Okay, yeah, all right, I understand.
How's the firewall configured? What are the what are the protocols that are in place and stuff like that?
So basically, you're saying this person needs to be able to poke around a little bit and assess.
I would think so, to a certain extent, yeah.
All right. Well, okay,
which of course extends the the contract to being also non-disclosure. There's liability with going in and looking at configuration. I guess you could give somebody like a read-only type of access, but just things to consider.
Standard stuff. I mean, everybody puts an NDA in place. We do the same thing here.
Yeah.
I'll do some digging and see what other towns have done in this space, and maybe I can get my hands on one of these old applications and look at it and see what went into them. But I'll see what I can find in that regard.
Do you think, I wish Ed was still on for this, because he's got his guy who has access to and configured the firewall and probably the switches and the I think handle some of the backups and stuff like that. I mean, maybe that warrants maybe he would have, I don't know what he has access to or information on, but maybe we could gather a good amount of what's already there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd probably be helpful.
Or put a checklist in front of him. And
yeah,
say,
this is what we know about.
Yeah, here's the things that we would normally be looking into or be concerned about.
I put up this, I mean, there's Brimfield. I mean, 75K. Heath, or wherever the hell Heath is. I don't know.
Northampton.
45K. Well, let's get talking towns, not cities.
Right. But I'm just saying that there's so many. Just look at this list. It's littered with
Northfield. They went on the light side. 30. So you get sort of a flavor of what people have been putting in for, and maybe these would be people we could call and maybe get some information. I don't know. I don't know anybody in.
I mean, aren't there applications public information?
I imagine there is. It is.
So.
Yeah, I'll look for those, Dan. That's in my little note I just took to. I'll see if I can find any of these grants that have been done, and like what we're looking at here, for these municipalities. I'll see if I can get my hands on one or two.
Washington, wherever Washington is.
It's in the Berkshires?
Yeah, it's up in the hill towns.
Okay.
69K. I mean, that's not bad.
My sister lives in Clarksburg, and it's like the smallest town you'll ever see.
Even Southwick is 57,000.
Yeah.
15,
I mean, Southwick is right nearby. Maybe we could find somebody who knows somebody in Southwick.
Yeah, here's one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm a transplant here. I don't really know anyone, so sorry about that. I wish I did.
I'm good at cold calling people. I'll call anybody. I want to know about your cybersecurity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Who
right
are you,
away,
sir?
Dan. Sure, would you like my password too?
This is Comrade Lavelle. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, we could even pick out, I mean, Northampton's in there too. I mean, even just to, pick out a couple of the close towns and just see if we could find somebody, to talk to from, at the town level. I mean, Northampton's probably, I'm sure they have their own IT department. I can't imagine Southwick does, but maybe they do.
Northampton definitely does, and it's
Yeah.
pretty good size.
So I mean, to be able to make a call to the director of the department in Northampton, I would think would be a possibility. I mean,
You
we
guys
want to
wa-
go for a good amount, I think, if we can, because I think it's going to cost a good amount. So,
Yeah, I want to get as much as we can. But what was I going to ask you? God darn it! Getting old, I hate doing that. Forget. Sorry.
Asheville, geez, 45.
It seems like that's a no-brainer. As far as the getting the funds, it's everywhere. So I'll definitely do some digging on that, and I'll make some phone calls if I can't get anywhere to see if I can get my hands on some of this stuff to see what people did. But I mean, what they did, it's probably not what we need, so it's just
Right.
an idea of looking and see what worked. That's what I want to see, is what worked. Because these were all awarded, right? So we're looking at awards. Yeah.
Yep.
So they did something right, and then we want to make sure we kind of emulate that.
yeah, especially last year's. Yeah.
I mean, some towns almost got the full amount. New Bedford almost got the full amount.
Yep.
And I don't know what's going to take us to get us, completely secure, but I don't imagine it's going to be super cheap.
well, I don't think, I'm sorry, I thought you were going the other direction. I don't think it's going to be that expensive.
I don't think it's going to be 176, but I think it's going to be more than 30. I don't know.
I'm placing bets.
I'm not a better. Okay, so we got some stuff to do on this one. So let's, Dan and David and I touch base next week and share information, whatever we've gathered, and share questions, answers, whatever.
This file we're looking at here, who's showing it, and can they send it to us via email?
Art showing it. Yeah.
Is this have you already sent this, or?
No, I sent the summary. I can send this out too.
Okay.
Or it's online too, so.
Yeah, but if you already have it, it saves you from having to track
Yeah,
it
I'll
down.
send it out.
Because I think it's going to be a good approach to try to to see what these towns have done with these monies and try to find something similar to and go from there.
We do have somebody in the business though, right? I mean, shouldn't Megan be involved in this? I mean, doesn't she do this for a living?
Doesn't she do websites and stuff?
Not
I don't know.
cybersecurity specifically, but
All the contracting piece.
Well, I think because she works in this field, I think she would know people, local people that potentially could do it.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll reach out to her.
Yeah, she has her own IT business, so she supports, she comes and helps me fix my computer from time to time. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think she would be a great asset.
I think that is part of the conversation you brought up earlier, Art, is just getting an IT support person for the town. Is like
Yeah.
something. It doesn't come out of a grant. I know you work for free, Art, but we
They were passing out the paychecks today. They missed me again.
But in addition to Megan, I mean, if certainly, Art's mentioned the school and all their system. I mean, Kim has obviously had a big part in what's happened at the school. So we've got to be able to pick her brain somehow, sometime.
She may know a lot about cybersecurity. I would hope so.
I would hope. And so, I mean, let's not overlook trying to find her. And I don't know how we make her her available to us, how we can be more available to her. I don't know. I thought by going on alternate Wednesdays, that would be a non-school committee meeting night, but obviously that doesn't, and of course, today being the first day of school, so that didn't help either, I'm sure. So whatever.
Well, that kind of gets us to our next line of business. We only have a few minutes left. Dan was talking about polling the group for possibly a new date, a new day of the week to meet. So, Dan, do you want to send out a poll and do it, or just?
Yeah, I'll send out a poll. I just found a grant. I don't know if it's specifically for cybersecurity. So I wonder if this is a different grant. I sent it in the chat.
It looks to be a different one.
So maybe there's another 200 it's funded for 250,000. So maybe there's another grant for this type of thing too.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of stuff out there.
So yeah, I'll send out the poll for the doodle. Send out the doodle poll for the meeting.
All right, is this just training? Yeah, this is a training program of some sort. Dan.
My bad.
That's all right. But it's the right line. That's what we're looking for is, anything that lines up with what we're trying to do, just get that together and so we can look at it.
Yep.
All right, so Dan's going to send out a poll for a possible new day of the week to meet. We'll see how that, we'll review that at our next meeting. I will try to get the minutes out earlier than I did today, maybe a minute earlier. No, I'll actually try to get them out days earlier.
Can I show you that one thing on the municipal ID thing?
Yes, yes.
I may have lost it, but let me just see if I have it here. Oh, gosh, let's see if it's still here. And of course, I might have to find it again. Just a sec. Where'd it go? Okay, come down. All right, let's see. All right, so this is it out of the PVPC. So they started it apparently in 2018. So it's a whole bunch of towns in the Pioneer Valley that are sharing some of the same issues of of IT issues and trying to figure out some best practices, coming together to share their experiences, etc. But they have, if you're a member, so you've got free access to certain things, which we're not a member yet. So free basic assessments, roundtables, blah, 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 blah. Access to technology partners that have been pre-screened and procured on behalf of members that can provide these services. So I don't know. We're not a member yet. The question is, it's $400, which obviously not budgeted, but I would hope we could find $400 somewhere in our magical budget. And I guess this just came across my desk a couple of days ago, and both Ed and I decided we wanted to run it by you guys to see whether it was worth thinking about. I have not had a chance to contact this person down here, but I would, I could call and ask more specific questions if you want to give me some ideas of questions that you would want to know about. But it looks like it could be of use. I'd like to know how many towns are in it and the kinds of things they've been doing. I mean, what they've actually, been providing for support and technical services. But anyway, just a thought. So it could be another resource for us.
Yeah, I like it a lot because it kind of already dovetails in what we're just talking about, because it looks like they have some sort of cybersecurity assessment they can let us know about.
Maybe,
So
yeah.
yeah, so if you wanted to talk to them,
Mhm,
I would be asking questions sort of geared towards our grants, like, you know, can you
mhm.
do you have someone that could come in and look at our stuff and sit down with our expert and give us an assessment of our cybersecurity, you know,
Yep.
problems?
Okay,
And if the answer to that is yes, we can do that. We, you know, at a deep level, we want more than the basic, because I do see where they say we offer basic assessments.
right.
If the answer is we can give you a nice detailed assessment, then I think that might be our answer, right? I mean, but if they say
I don't know.
we can't really give you a really deep dive,
Mhm.
then we have to find someone else, and we look at this for some other reason, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this from my selfish perspective of, can they help meet our immediate needs of,
Right, yeah. Okay, well, I can certainly reach out to them and see what's possible. This is just the price range here, so we fit in the $400 range on this. But I'll reach out and just sort of see what's possible here.
okay, that'd be great. And just shoot us an email or whatever, and let us know how you make out with that. And that may drive a lot of this.
Yeah, it may not be the, you know, the level that you're talking about, but, you know, we can at least,
We'll find
you know,
out.
if not for this particular project, maybe they can be of use for something else, like the website design or something like that.
Yeah.
I think I clicked on a cybersecurity link on that, and then there's two specific contacts in there: a woman named Molly and a Carl.
Yeah.
It might be
I've
good
I've been in touch with Molly on other things, so I can, at PVPC one, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's PVPC, and
Yeah.
then Carl is this Insight
Yeah.
company. So that they say they provide gap analysis and classification and things along those lines, which sounds like
Kinda-
what we need. So
That's exactly what we need.
we'll see if the $400 gets us that. For $400, will they give us that so we can fill out our grant application?
Yeah, in the next
It's
2
worth it.
weeks.
Yeah.
All right,
So we-
I will make a point to try and connect with them tomorrow if I can. Yep.
All right, and if you need any help with that, let one of us know, and we'll try to assist you in some way, like on Telecon or WebEx or whatever.
Yep. Well, we can
Oh,
have
you got it though.
yeah. Well, no, I can just do it first one and, you know, just get a general overview. Then,
Yeah,
you know,
triage
make it
it.
a time with, you know, we can get a couple of you in on the phone call and just do that more clearly.
All right, perfect.
Okay.
I'm just taking note of that. Okay. All right. Any other new business tonight? No, we're basically out of time anyway, so I was just gonna write it down for next time.
I think it was a very productive meeting.
Yeah, it's a good meeting.
Good. And then it's gonna just get better when we get more and more of our members. Like we settle in on a night, everyone can come, and we'll just get more and more efficient and tight as we go. All right, everyone. Can I have a motion to adjourn this baby? It's 8 o'clock right now.
So moved.
All right. I guess no one's going to say no to that. No one's going to vote no to this. So we're going to close the meeting out. Thanks for everyone joining, and we'll touch base. The three of us will touch base the week, and we'll hear from Chris as well.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Take care,
Bye
everyone.
now.
Good night.